Welcome back everyone to Pinetopia. With the farms done, I have now the time to turn my attention to the actual warehouse, which is going to be this area. Now, currently I do have these 10 barrels here, which have various foods in here. Some apples here when I grow them. The oak saplings, since that's what you need to do, and I figured this is a good place to put my golden apples also. Here's some beets. These were empty a while ago, but I've had a few generations on the farm now, so now I have some extra beets and beetroots there. Not sure what I'm going to do with the beetroots yet, but they're there if I need them. Now here I have berries. Now I'm not too sure what I'm going to do relating to cultivating berries because I'm not going to put them into a regular farm situation. Berries are very prickly in order to try to work through. So I'll probably have to have a special area for berries to make sure that nobody gets stuck in there. And over here we have a carrots. I'm starting to get a good number of them. Good. Therefore, if I need any for potions or anything like that, I'll have that available. And of course, melon slices, never a problem. Mushrooms. I need a mushroom area. And I'll probably designate an area right there, probably take down a couple of those trees and put in one large taiga there so that I would have some puzzles so I could more easily grow that. So I'll probably do that in the near future. Potatoes, they're starting to come out fine, good. Pumpkins, never had a problem with those. So those are starting to come in. I am every time I look down here, you see the green and orange down there because more melons and pumpkins, they keep on coming in. Once they start producing, they really keep producing. This is one of those situations where I know in a previous world where it was a little bit more industrialized, I had an automatic farm popping in every few minutes, knocking down them whenever they grow. Of course, these days you'd use observer blocks. That was before observers, and then sugarcane doing pretty well. I'm just growing that right over there, and then of course wheat. So overall, that's starting to produce fairly well, but I do need my warehouse. And right now, I'm thinking the best thing to do is to have three wings to this warehouse. I think I mentioned that way at the beginning before I started turning this whole thing into a farm area, and that is animal, vegetable, and mineral. Now, this is our main entrance right here. Now, is that the best place to put the main entrance? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I probably had a good reason for putting it there when I first put it there, but I have a feeling that particular reason really no longer applies since I've done a lot of moving around of other stuff. So I am going to move that closer to the center and going in there, there, and there. Now I'm going to keep the gate here because this area, I know at least once I had some pillagers popping in here, and if some pillagers do pop in here while I am away, then I come back in, see some pillagers here, then they're trapped inside, and that could help me to deal with them. Though once I build the warehouse itself, that might be a less likely occurrence. Now, let's think about our dimensions and the like. Let's outline this with torches. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's make that 9 then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, we'll make that 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so that'll be 11 there. Now the question is, do I want to go all the way back? Actually, if I do this in a wing formation, that's probably not the ideal way of handling this, because how the wings be handled. You'll come in here and you'll put one there, one wing that way, and one wing back here. So those two won't have much to do. Maybe have them outside and working on something? The ponder. This is my outline. This will be my little foyer where I come in. Then I come down into the main center here. Then on this side, I will have the animal items. Down here, I can have my food stuff. And here I can have all the rest of the stuff down on this way, where probably have a back wall of items and perhaps various crafting stations along the side there. I have to find some way of decorating these two ends. So this is where I have my access to my chicken, so I might not do anything special there. And perhaps I could put my podzol here where I could grow my mushrooms. That could be something to do with that. Not much I could think of to do with the area back here, though I do have a back gate just in case. Now this here is going to have to be moved, and now of course be moved inside into the area where I have the foodstuffs. But I think I need to replace the torches with my cobblestone, and this is where I will have my foundation. I decided to dump the whole thing with wings in the end because of the way the room went, and I made some barrels for the various types of crops here. I added bamboo as a new item I didn't have before, and I now have a little bamboo field there, which for bamboo, yeah, that really grows quickly, as you can see right over there. And the other thing I added is kelp. I have some places there where I could gather kelp in the water. And of course, kelp is another thing that accumulates very, very quickly. So not too sure what I'm going to be doing with those things yet, but now that gives me 12 different items there. And I also created a section for wood where I have a separate barrel for logs and for items made for it. I am putting the saplings with the logs for the moment, but anything made out of a type of wood I will put over into the other barrel. I don't have everything moved into there yet, but I think that's a start. So I have a section for that, a section for there. So I'll probably have a section for dyes, a section for whatever I get from the animals here, all sorts of sections. And I've also moved the entrance to my mine right down here, so it is all integrated with this section. And that's now closed up. So that's a little bit busy in there. And as a result of that, enough time has passed that they have, since the last clip, updated to 1.14.2. So we'll see what bugs have been fixed and what new bugs have been introduced and all that fun bit. As for my farm itself, that seems to be growing nice and pretty. I have harvested a huge number of pumpkins and melons here. But unfortunately, when I went to trade some of the stuff in the village, I came right after I had been attacked by some pillagers. I was out here gathering the stuff, and some pillagers right around here came and started shooting me. And of course, I killed the pillagers eventually. When I got back here to do the trading, I found out that my farmer must have been a victim of the pillagers. And so were apparently my weaponsmith and my toolsmith. The rest of the villagers appear to be accounted for, so it looks like those are the three victims. The three that are closest to this area here. And with that, yes, getting that wall up just shot up to the top of the priority list, even more so than the farms, which are pretty much running now anyway, and more so than the warehouse. If I just need to proceed further with the warehouse, I'll just add a few barrels somewhere in order to get the space and worry about the actual building and the roof and all that stuff later on. Because right now, I need a wall here because I have lost 4 villagers, the 3 I just told you about, plus a librarian due to attacks on this side. This side is very, very vulnerable at the moment. Now, I think that the water side is for now relatively safe. I don't see any way which pillagers are going to be spawning over here because they're in the water, and I don't think the drowned are going to be any problem with them in any way. So that just leaves this side right here, and here we have a much smaller area for which the pillagers to be able to have a line of fire or anything like that. And usually what you've got up there are the golems instead, so I don't think that's going to be a major problem yet. But this side over here is definitely a problem, very definitely a strategic concern, and we need a wall. Now, the first question is, how high do I make the wall? And I think the answer to that has to be 2 higher than the highest point. This is the highest point, so therefore I'll say the wall has to be at least 1 above where the fence is, plus, I'll go and sleep this way, 1 above where the fence is, plus maybe having some sort of gate or something like that. So I have to go and design a good wall. Well, this may seem to be a case of closing the barn door after the horses have all left. Just remember that it's my intention to breed up some new villagers to take the place of the ones that were killed. So I will be, of course, protecting the new citizens that will be following. And now, exactly what kind of wall do I need? And why is it that this Fletcher refuses, absolutely refuses, to use his workstation? No matter what I do, he just doesn't want to recognize his workstation. Ever since I had those extra Fletchers came up, he just doesn't want to do so. Now, I'm wondering if that's been fixed in 1.14.2, but I suspect not. I decided I would plop the fletching table right next to him and see what he does. He walks over once, he walks over twice, he takes a look at it, then he walks completely away. Well, it might be gathering time, so perhaps it's the end of that. He just wanders about. He's acting more like a nitwit than an employed villager. And I just wonder what is going on with that fletching table. See what happens if I make a new one. Maybe he has decided that he likes the thing now. he, he is playing around with it, so perhaps he's decided that's his table after all. But if he's over there, then he's in the potential danger zone here. So let's worry about this wall and not worry about that villager any longer. So what do we need? We will need, of course, to clear out an area where we're going to have the wall. I'd like to have it reasonably straight and reasonably close to where my fence is currently located. I will say that this shoreline right here could act as a bit of a natural wall, and that the wall will extend from here, being just one outside of the current location of the fence. Good. And we have to take down a couple of trees in the process to make sure that nothing weird happens relating to that. And then continue all the way down here. Now, what I'll do is when I hit the buildings, temporarily I'll put in some fences there and there where they won't have an angle into it, then continue on the other side. And that way I'll have the most critical parts done first. I think that's our plan. And actually, I think I'll take down this part of the hill, since we definitely don't want to have any local ground that is taller than the wall, because then that would be a bit of a problem. And I could just change the configuration of the road here so that we won't have to worry about it. I'm going to start this with a gatehouse. Now, with the gatehouse, we'll not only have the entrance into the area, but we are also going to have a second one. In other words, we'll have a room in here, and inside the room there'll be an entrance that way that leads into the village, and another one here that leads into the outer area. And this will be the primary way of getting into and out of the village. And any entrances that I have will have to have something that is similar to a gatehouse, meaning you'll have to go through two doors in order to get in or out. Now on this end, I have to have one of the entrances right at my house here. So this is going to serve the same purpose as a gatehouse in that manner. Though this one is going to be designed to be defensible, meaning I'll be able to go on top of it also, and from on top of there, I'll be able to fire upon any illagers or zombies or anything like that that may be up there. Now, the primary enemies I'm here to defend against are going to be zombies and against pillagers. I'm not going to worry too much about creepers, because if I'm going to worry about creepers, I have to worry about explosive damage, which means having all sorts of things that are going to absorb explosion damage. And if I am up above them and shooting down, I am hoping that I won't have to worry about explosive damage being inflicted upon the wall. But if I'm proven wrong in that matter, I'll have to come up with another plan. So I think having a few cats at the gatehouse might not go amiss, just to make sure that no creepers come within that area. That's right, that could be my creeper defense. A wall of cats. Now, let's worry about the gatehouse itself. Now, I was thinking about putting the main part of the wall here, and for the gatehouse, I want it to go out a little bit further than that. In other words, this will be the part which is aligned with the wall, and the gatehouse will jut out, let's say, 5 more. So let's do that, because what I'm going to be wanting then is a series of modules. I'm trying to think how wide to make the modules. I was originally thinking of 5 by 5, but what about 7 wide for each of them? So we'll try that. Now, since I'm not going to be worried about fire damage all that much in this, I am going to be using both spruce and stone for this, because a solid wall of cobble just doesn't sound like it's going to look nice. So therefore, we will have this is going to be the part on the wall. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Let's see, how do we go? This 1, 2, 1, 2. Right, yeah, that will be there and there. Now, I certainly don't want to have any type of rise right next to this section, because the gate usually turns into the most critical part, and that's probably not a place where you're going to be wanting any sort of hill or rise that the opposing forces may have access to in order to get around. All right, there you go. And within that, we are going to be putting the cobble. And yes, 1 wide for the doors here. Now the question is, should I use iron doors or should I use... The advantage of course using iron is that zombies can't break... Well, oh, I'm in normal mode. I don't have to worry about zombies breaking down doors anyway. Now I like the idea of using spruce doors, but the problem with spruce doors is you cannot see through them. And I think I want a door that I can see through. Let me check my options. Oak is the ubiquitous material. In fact, that's for this little path I have here is made of oak. And you can see through it on the top. So I have no trouble seeing what type of enemies are on the other side. And that way I only open it there right now. See, if I do it this way, just trying to think which side is better from the point of view of defense. Because if someone's standing in the door, we'll have trouble opening it up and people pour in. I'll experiment with that for the time being. I will keep them on that side. And then build around it and see what I've got. Well, what I've got is not a very good way of getting up or down. If I want the gatehouse to work, I probably need some ladders to go upstairs into the defendable area, but I'll probably have to put the ladders on the interior here. But do villagers use ladders? Because if they do, I obviously don't want them getting up. I don't want the villagers leaving. I need a way for me to handle... Oh, villagers. Oh! It must be iron doors. Otherwise, the villagers will use them to get in and out. And we don't want the villagers using the doors also. So I was thinking that zombies would be the main reason why you wouldn't want to use wooden doors. But no, the villagers themselves don't know what's good for them. And they'll most likely blithely do something silly, such as going through the door to the outside and running into pillagers. All sorts of nasty scenarios like that. And considering some of the things that happened during the early days of this village, I'm not going to say that is an unlikely event. With all those that went wandering off, disappearing forever, and all of that stuff. And we don't want any more of that happening, even without pillagers to worry about. Now, there you go. And of course, we are going to be needing buttons. And fortunately, as far as I know, NPCs don't know how to use buttons. Now, buttons are rather inconvenient because I find that the things don't stay open all that long, and very often get caught in the middle and don't get all the way through. But that's what I'm going to have to live with because levers have the disadvantage. Well, the levers have the lovely advantage. You could switch them and they stay open. There are disadvantages. You switch them and they stay open, and you forget to close them, and monsters come in and all sorts of nasty things like that. Now, is there any way to make that look better than a little box here that's going to just look ugly all the way through here? And that's why that's why I'm going to consider between episodes. Is there a way to make the wall look better? Because the idea is that each little section of this wall is going to be something similar to what we have on the gatehouse, except of course no doors or anything like that. But probably something where I could keep a tab on the enemies without having to worry about getting attacked. And this is not high enough. I'll have to take care of the height on that and take care of what things will look like when I return for the next episode of Pineleaf Plays Minecraft Pinetopia.